assimilate into our culture. She continues to make a difference in the real estate profession and mentors new agents in the profession. Let's congratulate Billy once again. Realtor Association Master of Excellence. I'll just be walking back. Yeah, so do my steps. All right, our third Ambassador of Excellence is Don Malloy of Riverside Realty Group. Don is a top producer and has the distinction of being part of a small group of people called Old Fort Myers. He was born and raised here in Fort Myers and has a very strong sense of community. After receiving his bachelor's degree from Florida Southern College, Bob received a job opportunity in Tennessee, but instead he chose to come right back here to Fort Myers. He spent 15 years as a manager at the Florida store of Burdines, which, believe it or not, I do remember. My mom used to shop there when I was a kid. And 4 years as a regional manager for a distribution company headquartered in Atlanta. Don loves giving back to the community whenever he can. He has served on the board of directors for the Edison Festival of Lights. He was also the past president of the Edison Pageant and has been the Relay for Life chairman for downtown Fort Myers for 2 years. He's still active. Don received the Rotarian of the Year award and is the current president for Downtown Rotary Club. He continues to impact the community and participate in many local charitable events and organizations. Let's join me in congratulating one more time Don Malloy, Realtor Association Master of Excellence. Congratulations. And last but certainly not least, our final Ambassador of Excellence is Nelson Rua of Caldwell Banker Realty. He's a top producer and a veteran. At an early age, he managed his family's business in New Jersey and then started his own business. Nelson traveled around the country with his family to favorite vacation spots and fell in love with Southwest Florida and made the move. He is committed to his community and is a licensed volunteer soccer coach, member, and volunteer at the New Cape Coral Neighborhood Association, and he's been involved with Humans for Humanity and Captains for Clean Waters. Nelson believes that you should serve the community you live in, and that's exactly what he does. Nelson specializes in waterfront homes. He is known for making difficult deals happen, and his passion, professionalism, uncanny knowledge of the market, and being multilingual allows him to get the job done in a seamless and efficient manner. Nelson knows that investing or buying a dream home can be complex, but having the right real estate professionals who can make that process nearly effortless. Join me in congratulating Nelson Rua, Realtor Association Ambassador of Excellence. Perfect. Well, thank you, panelists, so much for being here today. We're about to start this panel, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lead this discussion with some questions. I'll ask them. You can answer them in the order that you'd like. Followed by that, we'll go ahead and have you all share some tips and expertise before we open the floor to some questions. Sounds good? Okay, perfect. So, again, congratulations on everything that you all have accomplished. Let's first start by asking all of you if you've married productivity with community involvement and education, and whoever would like to take this question first. Perfect. Go ahead, Carla. Yeah, we have a microphone. if you need this one.
So, my theory on marrying it all together is the more I give of my time, the more I'm out in the community, the more people I meet, the more people I have in my circle, the more people in my circle, the more opportunity to meet my customers. So, to me, it's really a no-brainer, just to get out there and get involved. And then you really do benefit in so many different ways. Not that you're doing that for that reason, but then it does come back around. Sorry. Ooh, that's done. And as for education, the more I'm educated, the better realtor I can be. And the better realtor I am, the more people will talk about me. So it's almost a win-win in all marrying of that. That's fun.
Okay. So I'll take over because it's right next to us. Just get it off like that. I think one thing that we need to all remember is that real estate is relationships, as you talked about, and having a great relationship within your community and within different organizations that you're involved in. You're all working on a common core on something, but you're also meeting great people that you may have not had the opportunity to actually reach out to. So you're meeting CEOs, you're meeting small business, you're meeting civic leaders, and you're out there, for a certain cause, like with Relay for Life. When I joined Relay for Life, I thought that, I did it for reasons because of my family and things like that, and people that I've touched, and you meet different people all over, and you build that relationship and that trust. And I think it's very, very important, as she said, in regards to the folks that you're involved in, because they eventually become potential clients. So that's kind of where I've merited that, as well as I think that continuing education is something that we need to do. There's about 7,000 of us, or 7,500 of us here, and I know that we all need a little help every now and then.
Well, I married I guess most of my philanthropy has been things that I'm passionate about. I don't really tie it into my real estate life. I actually put it on my calendar, like a showing or a listing, and block it out, but do it for myself. When I'm in the hospital with my little dog, meeting sick people and stuff, I'm not really building relationships to sell them a home. But in turn, it does come back to my real estate business. Like when I worked at Gigi's, I have gotten listings from parents that I helped with their children. As far as continuing education, my former life was in higher ed. I have a master's degree in education, so I think lifelong learning is just part of my culture, and that it's very important. And every day we're learning, and we're very blessed to have a board that offers us so much community and continuing education opportunities. So that's all I do.
So, along with a colleague of mine, we started something called Planting Our Roots. And we're taking donations, trees, and we're planting them in beach. And we're just giving back to the community, enhancing the area. We're also getting involved with kids. I volunteer as a soccer coach, a travel soccer coach. Some kids don't have parents. Some have one parent. And sometimes there's a father figure missing there. You can show them the right way. People moving from out of state into Florida, sometimes they don't know the rules. Educate them. Knowledge is power. And just getting involved in the community, it'll come back to you.
Perfect. And echoing what you all mentioned, you're absolutely right. We are never at the end of learning. We are constantly learning, and community engagement is absolutely important. The next question that I wanted to pose for you all is, what have you learned throughout this time as you've been growing your business?
I've learned to answer your phone and call people back. That's the number one thing here. Be persistent, consistent, and disciplined, and people will deal with you all the time. So that's my advice to you.
I learned I can't be everything to everybody. When I first started out, any phone call I took, I ran with it. And there's certain areas that are not my expertise, like manufactured homes. So it's not fair for me to work with a customer who wants to purchase a manufactured home because I don't know all the ins and outs of it. So I'm better referring it to somebody I've also learned to budget my time much better, because as we all know, if you let it, real estate can consume 24 hours of your day, and you have to make time for yourself, for your family, for the community. So those are things that I do differently today than I did 5 years ago when I started.
Things I've learned over the years is I've learned that you can't do everything on your own. And so one of the biggest things I've learned is that I'm a people person. I'm not a paper person. So if I'm great at doing sales, I'm great at doing people, but hire somebody that's good at doing the paperwork for you because it makes your life a lot easier. I feel that surrounding yourself with people that are great at marketing and great at social media, make sure you have somebody around that can help you with that because it really does make you a success.
I've learned many times it's okay to fail. There's been many times that things just didn't turn out like they were supposed to, and all that's going to do, it doesn't feel good to fail, and I don't want to make a habit of it by any means, but it does teach me something to do differently next time. And I try, after years of doing this now, is to take a minute, figure out why I failed, and try to improve being a better agent, or whatever, the problem was, whether it was advertising that didn't work well, or, didn't get a listing appointment, things like that. And then also just take a deep breath before you reply to texts and emails. That's not good. You don't need to send it. Just delete is fine too. Just pause, because a lot of times you're not gonna, you have to go back to what's the best interest of your buyer. So that was huge for me, because you get all emotional, and it's really, and you put that aside and do what's best.
And I'm sure that this is all knowledge and things that you all wish that you knew coming into this industry in the first place, but you've developed over the years. And given, this current market that we're in, how do you guys handle it? What strategies do you currently use, with this current market that we have?
So it's such a crazy time. I get through with coffee and Jesus. So the main thing I like to do right off the bat is just set the bar of what kind of market we're in, whether it's a buyer or seller. If I do my best to tell them what to expect, then things don't backfire as much. I mean, things might not go well, but at least they're prepared for it. I think that's huge. If I don't do that, then I don't think I'm doing a good job, even though I might be. They just might not understand the craziness that's out there. So that's, I think, the biggest one for me.
You talk about a challenging market, and definitely last year and this year has been a challenging market for each and every one of us. But remember, back in 2008, we were dealing with foreclosures, we were dealing with Chinese drywall, we were dealing with short sales, things that we haven't run into yet, but that was really a challenging market. And what we did as realtors, we learned to adapt, and that's what we do well. And I think that who would have thought that we would have been selling houses without people even seeing them? I never thought of that the whole time that I've been a realtor, that I would have success in that. We learned how to do Zoom. We learned how to do FaceTime better than we ever did. You just needed to be out there and adapting for it. And now with this crazy market that we're dealing with now, we have more buyers, we have less supply. It is very challenging, but I think you just need to take a step back and remember it's not as bad as it was. So that's where I'm at on that.
It is a challenging market, and again, I think it goes back to educating. We have to educate our buyers and set their expectations, because they're still living in the day where they think they can lowball an offer and somebody's going to come back and counter. You have to let them know that's not our current market that we're in. That more than likely it's a multiple offer situation, so you better, if you really love this home, you better submit your best and highest right out of the gate, because there is no opportunity to negotiate and counter, because you're going to be competing with maybe 44 other offers depending on the home. And I'm finding they're having a challenge grasping that concept. It sometimes takes them 2 or 3 homes to lose before they're like, oh, well, yes, maybe we should offer asking her off, So I think it's, again, all about setting the bar, the expectations, and educating them. Some buyers will be better at listening than others, unfortunately.
So I think we need to educate our sellers and buyers about the market. Also, we sell the location. Once you sell the location, you go look for a home for your buyer. That's the biggest part. Everybody has this dream about moving to Florida, but we're in Florida. We spend so much time going across cities, across the river, just going up and down. Where do you want to live? Make it what's your destination instead of what's your location. From your destination, you will pick a location on that. So it's kind of like reverse psychology now. It used to be location, location, location. You can have a location, what's there to do around here? Your destination, the beaches, the islands, boating, fishing. Choose your destination, I will find your location. So that's my advice to you.
And Fort Myers, well, Southwest Florida in general, as we've seen, has been expanding so much. I mean, I remember when I came here in 2017, and now I just drive and I see all these new homes and communities and attractions being built around. With that same theme of expansion, I wanted to ask all of you if you had plans for expanding your own business right now in this time.
Expanding my business, reach out to other agents in other states for referrals, because we know bad weather's around the corner up north. So we kind of want them to call us, come to Southwest Florida, Gulf Coast. You know, again, everybody has that idea of move to paradise. Let's live in paradise. But what is paradise? We kind of have to show them our sunsets, happy hour, boating, beaches. We have all these events here in Southwest Florida. I think we're probably doing better than other parts of the state right now. Everybody's seeing the beauty of our islands over here. And you get that, good morning, how y'all doing? Instead of, what are you looking at? So, yeah, Western hospitality over here, because when Westerners are coming over here, it's different from the East Coast. So you also are seeing people from the East Coast of Florida moving to the West Coast, and not vice versa. So they're seeing the beauty. It was a hidden secret for years, and now everybody's trying to move down here.
I'm expanding my business by expanding my farming. I used to just farm my neighborhood. Now I'm farming another neighborhood. Doing a lot more social media. I used to focus relatively Lee County area. Now I'm focusing Michigan, Illinois, New Jersey, all those blue states where the people are trying to get out because their property taxes are high and they like our governor and our way of life down here. So I've really put most of my marketing dollars into targeting people in those blue states, and a lot through social media.
Nestor, it's a secret. No. Actually, I leave it up to my broker who's out there. We do expand our business. I think that what we're doing is we're going to spend more money on traditional advertising as well as social media. We've got a big focus plan to work on the snowbirds. We've been doing that a lot through Facebook Marketplace and other things with social media and Instagram. I'm 57 years old, but I'm lucky that I have people on the administration team that know what they're doing with Instagram and things like that. So I think that's the way. It still is really the way of the future of just dealing with reaching out to people in other areas, as Billy suggested, that they want to be here. They don't want to be there. And we're excited to have them here. I'm not excited to have them on the roads. I'm not happy to have them behind me tooting all the time, but I've seen this town. I've seen it grow. Being born and raised here, I think that's a plus, but it's also, I'm like, I don't want everybody here. I like my paradise, as you say. I do want people to be happy here, and we are reaching out to them as well.
So my biggest thing to help me expand right now, I need to work on some branding and just different stuff of getting myself organized, I think, in my own little area. And then also social media is not my thing. And I think my goal is to find somebody who can probably help me with that. I do videos and it's a bit of a hot mess, but I do them.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. So I definitely need to work on that stuff. And then also, I think most of us in Florida are from somewhere else. I'm, originally from Chicago. I have a lot of people that I still know there. So my goal is to reach out, remind them what I do for a living. Hey, do you have somebody who wants to move down to Florida? Let me help you. That kind of stuff. So.
Thank you. We did touch upon this earlier. I know Billy mentioned it regarding continuing education and the importance of, I guess, staying ahead of the game. So rather than asking what you all think of the importance of that, I might twist that question and now say, what is it specifically that you're focusing on now that you're either relearning or learning for the first time, or what kinds of continuing education are you keeping up to stay ahead of the game?
So this is one of the areas that I need to work on as well. I learn every transaction, so the more I stay involved in my education, the better. I need to pencil it in. That's my problem. I get too busy and I put it on the back burner, but in reality, that should be one of the first priorities. So as of right now, I'm not enrolled in any classes, but I like to talk. I like to ask questions. That's how I learn. I'm not necessarily a reader, or if you're going to sit in a really long class, that's hard for me. So my way, of getting myself educated is I need to, do more classes at the board, but in reality, me asking questions in the community that we're in is huge. So I know what's going on. So when I want to go sell a house, I know the area, I know the laws that are changing, things like that.
One of the things I miss, and last year, the Zoom, the webinars, it doesn't do the same thing if you're not in a room with other realtors. It doesn't give you the impact of learning from each and everybody's experiences. Maybe you didn't have that experience, but now you know how to deal with it. And it gives me goosebumps to think that we're going to start going back and doing more classes and getting those rooms filled up again, because I learned more from the teachers who were realtors like J.J. Jones and different people that, have been in the business for a long time. And I think that if you're not doing these courses, you need to. I'm an accredited buyer's representative. I think those are important things that you learn from. Having somebody talk about contract law, and the contracts change all the time. Understanding the escalation clause, understanding all the addendums. It's super important, and knowing ethics. I think ethics should be something that's done all the time. We have so many people, and so many people that wish to be a realtor that maybe were realtors in other areas, but now you're in the state of Florida, and we run it a little bit differently. And so, as being this for almost 14 years, the continuing education is really something I feel strongly about.
I pretty much want to echo everything he said. I'm also an ABR, accredited buyer's representative in SRS, and I get a lot of good knowledge and information out of their website and their flyers and the monthly newsletter. So if you work with buyers, I really encourage you to invest in getting your ABR, because I have found it to be very helpful. And I am also a better in-person type learner. The Zoom meetings and the Zoom classes have not been as effective for me, because I like to talk and learn from each other, and everybody has their own experience. And that's the best way to learn, is talking to other realtors in the field and what works for them, and what challenges they have had, probably have had, and how they have overcome those. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the classroom again too.
There's always new technologies coming up, and we need to update ourselves, and sometimes we get overwhelmed. Learn how to negotiate. That's probably your best superpower. Your buyer and your seller will appreciate that. We have different cultures, different people coming from different parts of the country. Some bring their attitudes with them. I always tell my buyers and my sellers, wherever they're coming from, this is not Miami, this is not New York. You know, we have people here that wave at you while you're driving down the street. So you have to kind of, you kind of have to learn the area. Once you learn the area and you show that knowledge to your buyer and seller, they will work with you.
And learning the area, almost building then that expertise of what is, you know, your specific specialization. So at this time, I'm going to have each of you kind of go down and elaborate on your market base, whether it's focusing on first-time home buyers, waterfront properties, etc. So whoever would like to start there and let everyone know what it is.
Sure. So, I do live waterfront. I'm a boater, a jet skier, so I'm a waterfront specialist. I know the waterways down here. I've been up and down the coast. I also do, since I'm a veteran, I do relocation for veterans also. Veterans like to see on the other side that they're dealing with another veteran. Just makes them feel comfortable because you have something to talk about. You make a connection. The market here, you know, what I sell is the sunsets, the beaches, the boating, the fishing. You know, when you're trying to compare cities, every city's different. You know, if you go to Naples or Sarasota, it's more about fine dining and shopping. You come in this area, it's about the beaches, your happy hour, your sunsets. If you want that lifestyle, this is the best bang for your buck in all of Florida right now.
I work a lot with people that are coming down here for secondary homes, so relocating from Michigan, Ohio, but are just going to be our snowbirds. So that's probably more than half of my customers. But my favorite are the first-time home buyers because, again, it goes back to educating. They're excited. You're sharing a new experience with them, and they let you help them navigate the process. And they're eager to learn, and they're excited. And real estate, for me, is a very emotional experience in building rapport with these individuals. It's probably why I don't do real well with investors, because there's no emotion contact there. So my favorite are first-time home buyers. My family is also boaters, so we do, you know, a lot of the snowbirds want to bring their boats and are into the fishing, and I can talk the fish language, and I've been on the waters. So, but again, first-time home buyers are my favorite.
As Nestor said before, I was born and raised here in Fort Myers, so a lot of my background is where our focus is on the historic area, the historic Fort Myers, the Dean Park, the Edison home, the condos downtown. One thing that I try and sell to my clients, and it's something, as you mentioned, you know, we're not New York, we're not Tampa, we're not Miami, but we have a huge cultural, we're so lucky to have a cultural explosion here. We have so many plays, so many theaters, so many baseball. We have everything that they need right here in their backyard. One of the things that I like about when I take my clients out is, you know, I show them where the Alliance of the Arts is. I show them where Sidney Byrne Davis is. I ask them to find out, you know, what they're looking for. And that's really my major focus. And as you said with new home buyers, I think the joy of just making people happy. You know, I've always been a people person, so I would rather deal and make people happy and find them that home, whatever it be. It's not just something I have. I'm going to go out and show all my clients whatever everybody's listings are. I think it's, you know, it's not for me to choose for them, it's for them to choose.
So, I'm opposite of you guys. I sell, my favorite thing to sell is acreage. We live in Buckingham, and we have horses and chickens. I leave here today to go pick up some pigs. So, to me, that's what I know. So it makes it really easy, and I get it. I get the people want the peace and quiet, especially during COVID. A lot of people were wanting to be out, you know, where they had an acre or two. So that is my favorite. And then I also love to work with veterans. What a privilege it is to work with a veteran. It frustrates me a little bit when people don't necessarily take our offer because it is VA, but I like to educate them. They earn that right to have a VA loan. So it's the least I can do, you know, to help them. So I do enjoy that. I love all people though, so in every area. So, but my favorite is definitely where the pigs and the horses are.
I have a pig at home, just so you know. Yeah, I don't like her a pig.
So do I.
here today, and you know, as if you weren't in the hot seat, now you are, because everybody would love to know what your tips, your expertise, anything that you weren't able to get across in these past few questions that you'd like to share. We're going to give you each about 10 minutes or so to let everyone know, I guess, the secrets or things that you know will help them thrive in this market. Who would like to go first in the hot seat? Yeah?
Yes,
Perfect. All right.
So, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much. What a blessing and an honor it is to be up here. I thank God every day for giving me the desires of my heart, and it truly is real estate. So that does help me, you know, in my job. As for any magic tricks or anything, I don't really think there is that, but I'm going to just let you know a little bit of stuff that's worked for me to help me be a more successful agent. I love real estate and I love people, so hey, that's you know, a good career to get in. It took me a long time to get to this career, but man, I do love it. I have a strong faith in God, and I know that He will provide, so it takes a little bit of the pressure off of the pushy salesman. Nobody wants that. So I wouldn't be here without Jesus, and I truly want what's best for my buyers and sellers, and I pray that that shows in my work ethic. The first thing that has helped me is getting to know my customers. That's huge for me. You know, everybody's so different. Some people want me to be super chatty and bring all the facts, and some people really just want me to shut up. And that's a little bit tough for me. This freaks me out up here, but like if I'm in a different situation one-on-one, I can just chat, and it can really screw some people up. So I've learned to tone it down when I need to tone it down, and then also try to figure out, you know, is this guy a fact person? Does he want me to have paperwork and statistics on the neighborhood, or does he want me to just be here and show him the house, you know, and have the basic facts? So that's one of them. And then the other thing is lighten up, you know, be yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Don't mimic another realtor or another person. You know, just figure out, you know, who God created you to be, and then that will help us be, we're not faking it. You know, you're just who you are. Some people are going to like us. Some people aren't. I'm a hugger, so during COVID, that, you know, that freaked a lot of people out. So I learned, and you just kind of learn what the best thing is to do. 20 years ago, I started cleaning houses 2 days a week. I had 4 kids. Getting a babysitter was a tough task, but I'll tell you what, I showed up doing that job, making relationships with those people. I had a smile on my face. I gave 100%, even though necessarily I was not thrilled that I got to scrub their toilets. But I formed those relationships right off the bat. I showed up, I did what I said I was going to do, I gave it 100%, and then pretty soon those people started buying and selling. Well, hey, guess what? For 20 years, you know, they knew who I was, or 10 years. So when they started buying and selling, you know, I'm like, hey, wait, I can do that. Got my real estate license, and sure enough, I was able to be busy just because I formed those relationships in the beginning. Not all of them chose me, and at first that was, you know, wow, you know, break my heart. And then I realized that's okay too. And then ask them why. If you don't get picked, you know, it's okay to say, hey, why did you choose someone else to be your realtor? And then don't get offended. Figure out how you can do something different the next time. That was really huge. I just formed those relationships by being honest and being myself. Another thing is figure out what you love. So getting involved in the community for me is huge. My kids are involved in a lot of stuff. We love 4-H, we love FFA, we love, you know, all that. Figure out what makes you tick, because when it makes you tick, you're just joyful to be there. Then wear your shirts. Wear your, you know, your work shirt, your name tag. Even if I'm a hot mess most days, no joke. Like, this does not happen every day. And I will put my name tag on, and people will stop and say, hey, you know, tell me about the market. And it's almost you're like, oh, geez, I really am a professional. You know, but I do my, you know, I'm myself, and I'm educated in that market. So when they ask, I might look a hot mess, but I will know the answers for you, and I will work on getting a customer that way. Another big thing is someone invites you to a social event, like say someone invites me to a Halloween party in Botanical Lakes. Well, before I go, I will double check Botanical Lakes. I will find out what's sold recently. So when I'm at the party and they say, hey, you're a realtor, and then I'll say, yeah, I see your neighbor's house just sold. I'm not I'm gonna look like a dummy that I don't know what's happening in their neighborhood. And before you know it, the last party I went, I was floating on a raft with someone, and word had it that I was a realtor, and the next thing you know, I ended up with a listing because I understood what was happening, even though I didn't live there and really had no reason to look up the market, but just that I was going to that party. So that's kind of, education. That's huge for me. I need to work on it, but be out in the world that we live in. Talk to the insurance people. There's so much weird stuff going on with insurance right now. And man, if I didn't know the roof law changed with the 14 years, or the flood insurance is changing, I would not do my buyer or seller. I would be doing them a disservice. I'd be giving a realtor name a bad name because I didn't ask questions. I didn't do my job. Ask the home inspectors what to look for, so you can kind of embrace them what's going to happen. That's how I learn. I ask questions, almost too many questions at different times, but be ready to answer. That's just by asking questions. And then education makes you confident. Being confident helps you sell real estate. So the more I'm educated, and I'm preaching to the choir. I need to get in those classes, get those certifications, different things like that. But man, the more confident I am, and I love to sell it. I love to talk to people, and I love to know where I'm at and what I'm selling. That just helps me do it. But the one thing is, imagine, if I didn't educate my buyers and sellers, say I was out with a first-time home buyer, right? And so we're out looking at houses, and we bid on 5 or 6, and eventually, we've lost them all. Well, the buyer gets frustrated, the buyer walks away and thinks I suck, but in reality, their offers suck because they have the money, most of them, and we are asking for money. So then they go tell their friend that I'm no good, and then so I did look it up. It's one negative review, it takes 40 positive reviews to counteract that. So work really hard on educating your buyers and sellers so that doesn't happen. If I would have told them up front, hey, we got to make our offer stand out, we've got to do something different. So that's kind of one of the big things. So just be authentic, be yourself. This business does not need us all to look alike. We just do not need to be alike. There's going to be a fit for us, and then there's going to be some people who really don't like us, and that's okay. And hey, if they don't really like us, let's find someone who maybe they would like better and get a referral fee out of it. Don't ever give up if it's not a good fit. I got somebody who is really great at selling, waterfront homes. Let me get you over there. Or find someone in your office that's going to help out. And then the biggest word of advice: find out what works for you. God made us all different. I'm good at some stuff and really bad at other, but do what's great and push yourself to do what's better at what you're not. Be authentic. And then recently I attended a Zoom meeting for my daughter for college, and they had a quote by Elton John Sirleaf. It said, "If your dreams do not scare you, then they are not big enough." And I'm like, gosh, that really made me think. Our business, there is no limit. Like we can go to the moon and back with this business. It is really up to you. And my successes is different than yours. So right now, this is amazing stuff, right? But for someone else, just selling their first home is amazing. So why can't we all, high-five each other and congratulate each other and not necessarily the ones that have been in the business for 20 years and have to remind us of that. Let's all support each other and come together and realize what your dream is and then go for it. So that, that's kind of the thing. So thank you so much. Really, this is such a blessing and an honor, and I am very, very, very thankful.
Thank you. Real quick before we pass it over, I did have one follow-up question. How do you find time to balance everything between having your family and doing all of those charitable events, and in addition, basically selling to Southwest Florida? How do you find that time?
So it's back to coffee and Jesus. So I find the time by figuring out my season right now is kids. I have kids. So how can I volunteer with my kids and be involved in Southwest Florida? You have to find your niche. In 10 years, I'm not necessarily probably going to have pigs in my yard. I'm not a big fan. I love it because my children love it. But that gives me the opportunity to help out at 4-H and FFA and be out there with those little kids and buy a pig and a steer. And then your name goes on the board, and then it's advertising Micro Realtors. Put your name in the book. buy the ad and different things like that. It's very hard to juggle it all, but you could definitely pencil it in, but also just figure out your daily life and then get involved.
Perfect, thank you so much. Don? And thank you, Carla, again.
I think Carla summed up a lot of things that we all feel up here. One of the things that I learned as a realtor, and I'm sure many of you have learned as you first started, that learning the zones, learning what CC11 is, learning what CC12 is, what CC13, which places are you unable to, you can't get a big boat through a bridge. I mean, those are things that people buy property and they're not familiar with. Learning where certain condos are, understanding the HOAs. Those are all challenges. She talked about losing a listing. I think that's probably the worst thing that happens when you do lose a listing and you don't feel uncomfortable with it. But what if it's your best friend? That's the biggest thing. Why didn't I get the listing from you? You're my best friend, and then you just can't stress about those things. You just need to roll with the punches, get yourself back up. When I was at Burdines, there was always a thing that they said is to treat yourself or treat your client like you would want to be treated yourself. And I think that rolls out to our lenders, that rolls out to our title companies, that rolls out to our home inspectors. They're out there doing a job just like us, and we're all trying to be a success by using these folks and understanding their jobs. Did I say I had big? Yes, but no, I have 3 children, 3 beautiful daughters, and we started in 2008. I had a baby. I had 2 other daughters that were 2 and 4, and we just made it work. But we also made time for the family, and I think that's huge. And as they've grown up, and as they've been involved in everything from band to you name it, we've made a lot of contacts through that. And another thing I would say is, the first thing you learn as a realtor is that you don't drive around in your car and you write on random pieces of paper that you might find. You want to make sure that you're prepared when you get that phone call. You want to have your notes there so you can, I have a specific place where I keep my pads in the car, so I'm always prepared. But that was one thing when you first start out, a lot of stuff you don't learn in class. You kind of pick it up as you go along, and you pick it up from being in continuing education. All the classes that they offer there, especially on learning the MLS, is a huge thing. So if you don't take the time to do that, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Let's see what else. And being involved in the community, the fact that I did Relay for Life, it was for reasons because of my family. And then it continues on. Being involved in the Edison Pageant Light, it was always something that was with my family, and we kept it going. And now we make great contacts, and we do great things through that. And the Edison Festival of Light, I always enjoyed the parades. So I would just say get involved in stuff you like to do. And that way you're still out there, you're working for a great cause, you're making great contacts. As she said, wear your shirts, get the word out by that. Sponsor things, get involved with different things. Like we sponsor the Fort Myers Film Festival just because I love film. So there's all different things that you can do to get your name out there, to help with making yourself a success. And right now, my biggest thing I'm doing right now is I'm the president of the Downtown Rotary Club, and we are out there making a difference. Our club has done the palm trees up and down McGregor Boulevard. Our club has done the sidewalks that you ride on from downtown all the way to Town and River. So I think finding a cause, my biggest thing is giving back to the community. When I joined Rotary, I asked people about it and I said, I want to give back. And that's really what is really what, I like. I mean, I love sales, don't get me wrong. I was in retail for 15 years. How bad can you give up your life for 60 hours and Christmas starts in October? I kind of got used to it, but what I'm saying is just do what you're good at. And I go back to what I said before, is I'm not a paper person. You find somebody that can do that. You'll be a much better success at what you do by just focusing on what you're good at and then finding other people and surround them around you.
Perfect, Don. One quick follow-up. You've been here for many, many years here in Southwest Florida. You even were listed as recognizing the old Fort Myers, but in all of these years, obviously Southwest Florida has changed so much. What is one thing that has been constant that you've noticed?
Just like Nelson said, the people that keep coming here is because they're coming here for an experience. It's, we're not fast-paced. We're not, we have everything that you want, cultural-wise. We have great big businesses, but you don't see them from the roads. I mean, my father was the Lee County zoning director back in the 70s, and to be lucky to grow up in this town and to see how it's changed and the rules that they put into effect. So we're not wiping out every single tree. We're not doing stuff like that. Over on the Cape, they blew up stuff to make canals. They lost tons of trees. I mean, the desirable part is having this paradise that we have, and we're so lucky. We have big businesses. We have, large companies that are here, but we don't know it's here. And I think that's one of the great things that I've seen over the years.
Thank you. All right, Billy?
Okay, I'm not always good at practicing what I preach. I need to learn to say no better. And I would recommend that if I were mentoring myself, that would be probably the first thing I would tell myself, is that sometimes you just have to say no, because there will be buyers that run you ragged, and you need to know when to cut them loose. But usually by that point in time, I have built such a rapport and relationship with them, I consider them a friend, and I know they're going to buy someday. It may not be for another 4 years, but those 4 years will come. But as you grow your business, you can't take on a lot of needy clients like that. So you need to be able to say no, and don't feel bad about saying no. Again, I'm not good at practicing what I preach, but that would be my recommendation. And listen, you need to listen to your sellers and your buyers. And I've probably talked myself out of a lot of listings. Actually, I know I've talked myself out of some listings, because at the end of the listing appointment, I'll ask them a question like, okay, you want to sell your home because you don't like to pay the HOA, and you don't like your neighbors in the association telling you your trash can needs to be in by 5 p.m. But we're purchasing this condo down the road that has the same rules. Are you sure you want to really list your house and do this? And after they think about it, they say, maybe you're right, now's not the time. And I'm like, dang, I screwed up that deal. But you know what? Every time that has happened to me, those people have come back to me a year and a half, 2 years later, because they remembered that I was honest and I had their best interest at heart, not my own, that I was out there. I could have made a double commission, both on the buyer's end and the listing end, and they remembered that. So I think being honest, keeping your integrity, and putting your customers forefront is what's going to make you successful. Granted, we all want that commission check, and it will come, but it shouldn't come at the expense of your buyer or your seller. One thing that I forgot that I am working on growing my business, and I've just started, and I don't even know if I have any followers yet, but I'm attempting a podcast just to get my name out there and, different topics, not necessarily always real estate, but things that are going on in the community. And, hopefully I'll pick up some leads from that. I've just started it, I'm like a month into it, and I'm not real technologically savvy, so I have hired a company to assist me with that. But that is one thing that I'm looking at doing to expand my business.
Excellent, and I'm assuming you guys are also TikTok experts as well, right? That's something that I had to learn for my job, so I get having to constantly relearn. I like how you mentioned about being kind to yourself, especially in a market that is very competitive, and at times, as some of you have mentioned, there's that feeling of failure that you feel we're our own worst critic. If you wanted to just touch up on that again, just on the fact of why it's so important to stay focused and I guess to have a clear vision.
It's very easy to get distracted if you let yourself. I don't pick up the phone if I'm with a customer, because at that point in time, the customer I'm with is my utmost importance. Now, I will call them back right away. And oftentimes I've called realtors and they're like, and I'm like, maybe I should try this tactic. You'll get their voicemail message and they'll say, I only return calls between 8 and 10 and 4 and 5. And I'm thinking, wow, no wonder they're so successful, because they only answer the phone for like 3 hours, 2-3 hours a day. But that doesn't work for me. And like Carla was saying, what works for one individual doesn't necessarily work for all of us. We're not a cookie cutter mold. And I think my niche is customer service. And my husband constantly tells me, when I'm doing something at 10 o'clock at night, he's like, why are you picking up the phone? It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, well, it must be important if they're contacting me. He's like, it can wait till morning. I'm like, well, and I do. I pick up the phone if I'm usually at 10 o'clock at night. And I tend to baby my customers, but to me that's my niche. I help them get insurance quotes. I attend the inspection. I attend the appraisal, whether I'm on the buyer side or the seller side. I really try to do everything but the packing, and if they need help packing, I've been known to be there the morning of closing and packing, because the buyers are supposed to be doing a walkthrough and my seller doesn't look like they've even touched anything yet. And like I said, those are things that I really probably should focus on. I know I could be more productive and put my energy on the next customer, but that's my niche, is customer service. And I don't know if I answered your question.
You guys have been basically all in answering the questions throughout, answering for each other and stuff. So as long as the information gets out, which is the most important part. Nelson, if you wanted to now, I guess, share some of your tips and expertise with everyone here.
Sure. What works for me is social media. I post events, I post me and my family at the beach. People will hate you in other states during the winter, but that's what they want, that lifestyle. I get plenty of phone calls like that. Our beach is close. How far are the airports? How far are the restaurants? They want this lifestyle. I will sell them the lifestyle. What works for me might not work for you, but I've been doing this for about 3 years here in Florida, and I've had good results. So I think it's a tool. It's a great tool, social media. I like Facebook and Instagram. I've had people reach out to me from other countries. I do speak other languages. I refer to other countries. I remember going to Naples, and I met this little old Italian lady, and she couldn't speak a word of English, and I spoke Italian to her. She told me that her parents lived for all this land in Italy, in Napoli, and that she wanted to sell. So I reached out to an agent in Napoli, and I did a referral. So it's good to be multilingual. There's always Rosetta Stone for everybody that wants to learn. But social media, I think, is probably the best thing out there as far as trying to reach out to people, other agents, exposing your brand and yourself. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Don't linger. Think outside the box. Just think ahead. I've owned businesses in the past. I think the last time I worked for anybody else was Uncle Sam when I was in the military. I've owned businesses all my life. So I try to think outside the box. What can I do different? How can I get ahead? Don't try to copy anybody. Just come up with your own ideas. It'll work. You know, again, be disciplined. It'll work for you. It'll work for you. I mean, it takes a lot to wake up, 5 in the morning. Be Uber for people that really don't want to buy homes. You don't know sometimes. Everybody says, yeah, I'm an investor. I want to buy 10 properties, 20 properties, and then they leave and they never call you back, answer your phones. So you try to linger off that. Move on to the next one. Keep it moving. Shake it off. That's probably the best way to do it. And so far, it's so good for me. And I'm just going to keep thinking that way. Keep pushing forward.
Nelson, can you be successful today without embracing social media? Do you find that tool in this day and age is almost critical and essential for the job?
Well, I guess the results of this week when Facebook shut down, everybody had a meltdown. So, I mean, it kind of tells you that, people are on social media. They're at the doctor's office, they're in the real estate office, everybody's on their phone. They're sending out text messages, they're posting stuff, they're seeing what other people are doing. So yes, before that, I used to door knock. Used to do open houses. Here's an invitation to open house. Please stop by. We have home-baked cookies. We have water. We have refreshments. Maybe like a free market value on your home. Get them to go there. So if you do 50 homes and you get 5 out of those 50, you might get a listing. You might get a buyer. Your best advertisers, believe it or not, when you do open houses, are your neighbors. Guy across the street. I sold one across the street. Her daughter wanted to live close to mom. She bought a house right across the street. So, but again, social media right now is probably the best tool you can have right now.
Excellent, thank you. And now we'll open up the floor for any questions, or if anybody had anything to add on. Or... Yes, absolutely.
So I forgot to remind you, if you're newer, getting with the right brokerage is huge. I'm so thankful I picked where I went because it helped me. It was a good fit for me. So my biggest advice is find someone who's going to help you, mentor you through all the crazy. There's so many different brokerages out there, so many different personalities, so many different people. So find the right fit for you. Mine, Megan Eister, I wouldn't have been where I'm at without her. She answers the phone calls, and all hours of the night with my crazy questions and calms me down. And she stays educated. So then I'm educated. You go to the office meetings, and she knows what she's talking about because she goes to the classes, and then that just helps me be a better agent. So that was one thing I forgot to say is go interview all the different brokerages out there and find what one works for you.
And one thing to tag on there is your agents are your best source as well. Work with your other agents. Mentor with them. I mean, a lot of them are new and they need answers, and they're going to be calling you. And don't look at your phone and go, oh, it's that person. No, you need to reach out to them and help them, because it only makes you a success, it makes them a success, and they're happy in being in the field of real estate.
Echoing on both of those, I agree. It's so important to be with a brokerage that is there for you 24/7, because as you know in real estate, you never have a crisis between 9 and 5. It's always on a weekend, it's always at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and the customer typically does not want to hear, I'll find out in the morning. So having a broker that gets back to you immediately is essential, and I'm very blessed to have that at Jones & Company. JJ is wonderful, and I wouldn't be where I am today without her mentoring and her leadership. And don't just mentor new agents in your office. I just had, I was on the buyer's end, and I could tell the listing agent was newer just by the way he acted and the things he didn't know. And come to find out, he was brand spanking new. It was his first listing. It was a friend from his church. He didn't have a clue what he was doing. And so I had to mentor him and walk him through through the process. In the home, we thought had defective drywall. He didn't know what defective drywall was. He didn't understand the contract and all the addendums. So, you know, when you're mentoring new agents, don't just look at your office. You know, help other agents too that you come across.
So we say when you walk into a house, it has to feel like a home. So look at different brokerages, it has to feel like a home. You have to click. You have to feel that energy. You have to feel that technology that it brings with you. It will benefit you in the end. There's companies out there that offer you so much education out there. Take advantage of it. You know, when I first joined, that's all I did. So I tried to take every single class out there. You know, I think I joined when we had green algae and red tide. No better time to sell homes during the summer, right?
One of the fun homes too.
You know, clients, I take them to waterfront, they're like, what's that smell like? I always say, it's probably coming from Mexico, I don't know. It's something that knowledge is power. Educate yourself, choose the best fit out there for you, you'll reap the benefits.
Excellent. Thank you all so much. Does anybody have any questions for our panel that you'd like to come up and ask a question? I'll go ahead and pass this microphone and we'll just have it travel in the room.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of you. You exemplify what it means to be an ambassador of excellence. You kind of all broached on it, but when you get those kicks in the behind, the listing you didn't get, the buyer that you ran around that didn't buy from you, age of COVID, all the depressing things that could possibly happen, what are you doing to get yourself re-energized?
I think we'll all have different answers, but sometimes similar. If it wasn't for my family, you know, that really always brightens my day. Just knowing that I get to pick up that child every day, or I get to see them, takes that badness out, really, and really starts the day right. I think she says Jesus and coffee. I'm on that track a little bit as well, but it's challenging. We deal with this, and you can get negative about your job. There's no doubt about it. But you just need to bounce back. If you didn't get that listing, you need to go after another listing. You need to be positive, and you know, positive comes from going back out there and really doing something different. You know, doing it a different way. Maybe this person, you know, doesn't like chatterbox like myself or like Carla. You learn from that, and you just keep going.
I think the biggest thing is, you know, it's okay to be upset that you didn't get it, to have a minute, you know, I might cry, I'm a girl, depends what time of the month it is, I mean, you know, and then figure out why I didn't get it, and have that energize you to be better, to figure out, you know, I hate paperwork as well, so I lost the listing one time because they wanted more facts. That stuff makes me want to throw up. I mean, right? But so then I had to figure out, well, how the heck am I supposed to, so I called my broker, how do I get facts? You know, how do I represent myself better? And I have a strong faith in the Lord, so that is huge for me. I always put Jesus first, and when things don't go, I just lift my hands up and praise God, because I know that I'm walking, I'm healthy. Things can be way worse, and things will always get better.
Loyalty, I don't know if I'll ever get over it. Yes, I do get my feelings hurt, and I vent to my husband, and my husband just rolls his eyes and says, seriously, we're on this again? But then I live, you know, if you lose a listing, or you have a buyer that you've been running around, and then you call and check, and they go, oh yeah, we just walked in an open house, and we put in an offer, you know, and you're just like, so happy for you. But like I said, we took in this quadriplegic young man, and on my worst day, I just look at him and like, Billy, you have nothing to complain about. You know, 4 years ago, this young man had his whole world in front of him, and he jumped off of a boat, broke his neck, and now is paralyzed from the neck down in a wheelchair for the rest of his life at the age of 22. So I guess that's what makes me, so to speak, suck it up and think, well, we'll just move on to the next one. It wasn't meant to be. I try to be loyal to businesses also, but some businesses are better fit than others, and I look at it that that's probably what happened in this situation. They chose another agent to list their home that they felt was a better fit. Again, maybe I was too chatty. Maybe I don't like data either. Maybe I didn't provide enough data. Because with your buyers, you get to learn their personality a little bit. You ask how you like to correspond. Do you prefer text, phone calls, emails? Everybody's different. Sometimes you don't have that information when you go into a listing appointment. So you go into a listing appointment not knowing this person and with your canned spiel, so to speak, and it may not be the canned spiel they're looking for. So we just smile and move on.
I think there's a lot of answers to that question. The best answer would be happy hour. Met with other agents. My wife's a teacher. I learned from her. She vents at happy hour. So, it's some place where we can socialize and just let out our stress. Some people go to gyms, some people go boating and fishing. But for agents, I think happy hour, get to bring some friends, go for some drinks, and just shake it off, walk it off, and just keep moving forward. I think that's probably the best. You can't linger over it. And some people do a lot more than I linger over it. How did I lose that deal? Why did they withdraw their listing from me? And you can't really blame yourself. They're just not happy. Hey, just move on, go on to the next one. Again, you need to vent out. It'll eat you up inside. Some people don't sleep well because of that either. Toss and turn. Sometimes I'll stay watching Friends, reruns of Friends at night. Just trying to see, make me laugh. Listen to radio station comedy. While I'm driving around. All this little stuff, just vent out. It's a great stress reliever, and it'll make you keep moving forward.
I'll pass the microphone to you. We can all hear.
I don't need a microphone.
You do? Okay.
Perfect.
Big mouth and a little voice. Y'all had talked about, you mentioned hiring a company to do podcasts. Have any of you considered paying, paid for coaching programs? Y'all see the big names and all of that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts and input on any of those?
I have not done that. I need to, but I have not. No.
I know you're in the panel, so you
I thought about it, but I haven't done it on here. Because my coach is the lady that just asked the question. So I really don't need to because she's a great mentor and coach, in my opinion.
We haven't done it either. We haven't really looked into it. I do like to talk a lot. My wife will vouch for that, but I've seen some of the videos that I've done for Facebook Live, and I gotta say they're not pretty. And it is an expense, and I don't know if I'm ready to take on that expense with a company and do that. But then that's also taking me away from, because I know people who do podcasts, they do them daily, they do them weekly. I just don't, right now with what's going on, I don't have the time for that.
I don't have much on that. I have not paid anyone. I need a teenager to show me how Instagram.
And TikTok and all of that.
TikTok, all that stuff scares me. Then your face is right there, and it's like, whoa, wow.
And I think that the TikTok thing, I have a middle school daughter that teaches me how to dance all the time, but I don't know if I can sell TikTok. You look at those guys on the $1 Million Listing shows, you look at them, and I'm just not that type of person, really.
Yeah.
We had to use TikTok and try to find it because for just the sheriff's office reaching out to that younger audience and trying to incorporate tips like crime prevention and finding a cool way to throw it out there. But yeah, you constantly have to evolve and find ways to market for any kind of profession or industry. Do we have any other questions here? All right, I'm gonna pass this over.
Thank you. Carla talked about how she got involved in real estate. I think you told that story, that was a good story, so I'd just be curious with the other panelists, how they actually decided that a real estate career was something they wanted to do. That's my first question, and then my next question is like, in your dreams, where do you see a perfect world for you in 5 years?
Great questions.
I'd like to retire in 10 years. I hear about all these people that go to North Carolina every summer and really enjoy it. I don't think I've ever seen, I think our vacation time, my wife will attest to this, is I think Thanksgiving, because that's when nobody's buying anything. I got into, well, I'm just saying that you've got a lot of lookers during Thanksgiving in December. You can do a lot on your computer, but you can also spend time with your family. I got into real estate, part of the reason because of my dad being involved in Lee County zoning, learning about the area. I was great at sales. I could sell ice to an Eskimo. It's just one of those things that I finally found my niche. I tried different types of ways of sales. I'm a people person, and I just felt like real estate was the way to go. My wife was in commercial real estate at the time. We had a baby. What better time than to start out in real estate? And in 2008, what a great time to start. So I think we picked the worst time to start, but we learned a lot over the years, and I'm glad that I chose real estate as a profession. I'm very proud to be a realtor. We are very lucky. We are, as I don't know, some people dislike us like attorneys and bankers and whatever, but we do a lot out there. We're out there helping. We're helping people. We're holding people's money. I mean, I chose real estate because I wanted to be a realtor.
I think for me it was probably a post-midlife crisis. When I met my husband, I was working for a company that they sent me around the United States to apartment complexes that were either brand new or in trouble, and I developed a marketing plan and taught their staff how to sell and get their occupancy levels up. So he remembered me enjoying that. And then we moved to Florida in 1994, and I worked about 22 years in higher education administration. And as I moved up the corporate ladder, it got more and more political, and I got further and further away from helping students and helping people, which is what I loved. And one day I just came home in tears and said, I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, why don't you get your real estate license? I'm like, why would I get my real estate license? And he's like, well, you love helping people, you love making a difference. Buying and selling a home is one of people's biggest investments, and I think you'd be really good at it because you were really good when you worked at Leasing Legends. You have the background, you have the knowledge because he was a builder, and so I knew about new construction and all that kind of stuff. So I took my license, and the rest is history. And I'm passionate about it, and it's the best decision I ever made. I wish I would have been smarter and had discovered it 20 years sooner. As far as where I'd like to be in the next 5 years, I think I'd like to be retired, but I'll never retire probably completely. I'll probably always dabble in real estate a little bit, but not have to worry about it being my full-time job.
So one of my businesses up north, I used to remodel and flip homes. My families were all contractors, they owned businesses. I used to scout for businesses. And I moved down here and said, what am I going to do? Do I really want to flip homes again? Do I want to, bust my knuckles again? Trying to, demolish homes and put them back up again? And how's the market doing? Florida's a melting pot for the country. Everybody's coming down here. Our expiration date is a little bit longer here in Florida than some other states. Our weather helps a lot, the lifestyle. Am I going to retire? I would just work less. I want to retire. I love real estate. Being multilingual, I'm going to travel. I'm going to try to convince people to move to paradise over here, just show them the benefits of moving down here. And again, my biggest seller is saying, hey, your expiration date's longer down here, that whole thing, people just love that. Yeah, and I encourage people, just don't ever retire, just work less. You can work 1-2 days a week if you want, refer it out, let the younger people do it, right? So, and again, social media, I told my daughter, you're going to be teaching me something, because it's going to get to that point, my computer's not going to handle it. So it's, again, as long as you love real estate, stay with your passion.
Excellent questions. Does anybody else have one that I can pass the microphone around? Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you so much to our esteemed panel, our 2021 Ambassadors of Excellence. We appreciate all the information that you shared today. Very much appreciated. I learned a lot, and of course, I have no background in real estate, so this has been really interesting. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to invite Robin McKeever again to please come, say a few words.
Thank you, Nestor. Everyone, this has been a spectacular panel today. Please, we have individuals in our midst. We learned a lot today. Thanks to the 4 of you here, our ambassadors of education and excellence for 2021. And Nestor, on behalf of the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association, and with greatest appreciation, a plaque for you for being our Ambassador of Excellence, Master of Ceremonies 2021.
Thank you.
That concludes our program here tonight. Safe travels.
Thank you.